Why is art education important in elementary schools? A personal story. Coming from a family of artists makes it easy for me to justify the importance of art in schools. If there were not art, my family would not only lose income, but would also lose ourselves. To take art out of schools would be to take opportunities away from families like mine. I know that art is important in elementary school because it was a vital part of my elementary experience, which developed to be one of the most essential parts of who I identify as today. I was and will always be an artist and a creator. Artistic creativity is one of the most remarkable characteristic traits I believe a person can have today. Due to advances in technology and outsourcing, technology and mathematical skill jobs are vanishing. It is far cheaper and more efficient for corporations and businesses to utilize overseas resources or technology to replace these workplace skills. However, they cannot easily replace the creative thinking that a human in our country can have. That kind of knowledge is so valuable right now, so our students need to be able to have that knowledge taught to them as early as possible. I consider myself fortunate because I have had art class every year since kindergarten. The learning that you achieve from your art classroom is exactly the type of knowledge students need to thrive in our world today. I honestly feel that art classes have allowed me to succeed in other academic areas of my life. I can remember how much elementary art emphasized the importance of learning visual elements and art history as a way to research who I was as an individual and to express myself through art and media. My teacher was strict about having us understand artists and how they had made art and how we can do similar things to express our own feelings. I remember that she was tough and that her class was actually one of my first poor grades. But she helped me achieve a good final grade by challenging me to think deeper. I cannot say that I remember other teachers at that age asking me to think as deeply as she asked me to. It was at that point that I was hooked on art and expression, but I was also hooked on thinking. Art gave me a way to think visually, which came more naturally than to just listen to a lecture or to complete 20 math problems. I genuinely believe that having the skill to think visually has carried me through other disciplines in school. For example, if I am introduced to an abstract theory in biology, my ability to think visually helps me grasp that concept. I do not know if things would have been the same if I had not been thrown into all those art classes throughout the years. But I would have never give that experience up for anything in the world. I understand that there are countless kids out there, like me, who need to learn through visual means. The art classroom is the best place to do that. Starting kids off early with an understanding of how to read a story or to tell a story visually can go a long way for their education. If students are not given the opportunity to think the way an art classroom demands them to think, they will be at a huge disadvantage going forward in their lives. Even in my work life, I can feel how much my knowledge of art sets me above my coworkers. I work in retail, and there is a team of us responsible for merchandising product on the shelves in a way that is most pleasing visually. From my experience, this is an easy task because I understand how to compose a work of art. It's like Molly Bang's principles except instead of illustrating a kid's book, I am putting product on the shelf. I understand, though, my experience, how much different a small section of a shelf will look if I move the largest object from the bottom of shelf to the top shelf. I also know what's going to happen if I put a green product next to a red product. These are principles I understand all thanks to art class. With the knowledge I have learned from art classes regarding art's visual qualities, students will be able to apply that knowledge in multiple content areas for the rest of their life. Another important skill I believe art teaches students is general understanding, empathy, and caring. Art requires you to look at something and try to understand why it was created and how to care about it. Art asks you to walk into somebody else's shoes and also give you a way to open yourself up so that others can walk in your shoes. One important thing that art allows viewers is to understand and care about Culture is something that I believe is best demonstrated visually. I remember learning about Mexico's Dia de los Muertos in school, and it really meant nothing to me until I was subjected to its visual examples. As soon as I saw what this holiday looked like, I immediately respected it and began to care more about Mexican culture and other non-American cultures. Being able to aesthetically see a culture really opened me up to this idea of researching and understanding other cultures other than my own. Students need to learn about cultures in school because it's not likely something they will be exposed to in one household. Art class does an excellent job of teaching culture because words and language can only do so much about another culture, whereas images and artwork can speak a whole new language of its own. Students will respond to the visual elements of culture, and as a result, they will start to care. Art is something I truly could never exist without. It is something so powerful and influential on cognitive development because it changes thinking and requires the mind to understand and to care. Art is a class that teaches students how to find understanding out of abstract concept and how to take that understanding and care about it. Knowledge in art class spans multiple disciplinaries and philosophies. The applied knowledge from art class will not only help students make a pretty picture, but it will also help students understand how to visually understand ideas in literature, science, and math. I know that all of these statements of art class can be true because I understand what art has done for me, and I know it can do the same for other students.